Think of a food you abhorred as a kid, but enjoy today. Mine? It's asparagus. My mom's secret recipe was to microwave it until it was so stringy, we often choked as it slimed down our throats. I don't blame her. She had 7 children, but I did not like asparagus. I insisted I didn't like asparagus until one day a friend grilled it for me. The edges were crispy and caramelized. She drizzled it in a balsamic glaze. Suddenly the heavens opened and I saw asparagus in new light. It looked good. I decided to give it a try. Wow, I like asparagus. I just don't like it microwaved. This was a game changer for me. What other foods were I missing out on just because I didn't like the way they were cooked? We all have an asparagus story. As a nation, we have a sushi story. 30 years ago, we viewed raw fish and seaweed as slimy and unsafe. Thanks to a chef who hid the seaweed by putting the rice on the outside and calling it the California roll, we are enjoying sushi across the nation, in rural America. Within our lifetime, we shift from having strong food aversions to craving them. So what foods do we currently view as appalling that with a slight perspective shift, we will embrace? I can think of one category: protein derived from bugs. If you haven't heard of bug protein touted as the future of food, allow me, a bug food entrepreneur, to introduce it to you, but with a twist. Bugs aren't food for tomorrow. They are food for today. Our food system is in a grave state of fragility. Global population is nearly 8 billion people. According to a study published in Nature Sustainably, our current food system can feed less than half of us sustainably. But if we change the way we consume, we can sustain over 10 billion people on this planet. The reason why bug protein is food for today and not tomorrow is that if we wait to make this change, we may experience hunger at levels felt 90 years ago right here in St. Louis. My grandma grew up in St. Louis during the Great Depression. And although her parents didn't have a lot of money, they owned Wolf's Bakery in Tower Grove. When the Depression hit, they fed not only themselves, but also fellow hungry St. Louisans with the daily leftovers. This story hit home with me when I was just 10 years old. That was the year of the 2000 presidential election, and global warming was a hot topic. I realized the devastating effects of climate change would leave us with widespread food shortages within my lifetime. I wanted to build a resilient food supply for my community. The only problem was, well, I was 10 years old. So I continued to go to school, and with each passing year, this sense of urgency in me has grown and grown as I've watched our planet's resources shrink and shrink. Since I was born, our Earth has lost 1/3 of its farmable land. And this past year, farms in northern regions like Canada lost 30% of their crop production due to climate change. Now, I have a daughter. And if there's one thing that motivates me the most, it's looking in my child's eyes knowing I created life at a time when we're undergoing life-shattering changes. So I built a company to bring the future of food to the present. With protein being the most resource-intensive nutrient, I scoured the planet to find a healthy, sustainable protein that is going to get us where we need to go. Never in my wildest dreams would I have considered bugs had I not stumbled upon compelling facts that made me give a double take. Let's start with sustainability, specifically with cricket. Pound for pound of protein, cricket requires 1,800 times less water, 12 times less feed, and emits 100 times fewer carbon greenhouse gases. As climate change and pandemics disrupt our transportation, leaving our cities vulnerable to food shortages, cricket poses a solution for a hyper-local protein supply. They don't need acres and acres of farmable land like soy. They can be ethically raised and harvested in formerly abandoned buildings in the heart of our cities. And crickets, they eat virtually anything. They are means for which we can upcycle our food waste back into the food system. They'll eat your lunch and the styrofoam it was served in. As a former healthy cooking instructor, what excited me the most about cricket is that it bridges the gap between the ethics and sustainability of plants and the nutritional powerhouse of meats. Not only is cricket a complete source of protein, it is an amazing source of vitamin B12, a nutrient found scarce in plants. And it's full of omega-3s. To absorb the same level of omega-3s in plants, you have to eat 9 times the amount. Lastly, as a prebiotic, crickets are great for the gut. To me, crickets seem like the wonder bug. There was just one tiny problem. I thought crickets were ugly and dirty and gross. During the height of my asparagus abstinence, I enjoyed flipping through National Geographic magazines, and there I would find glossy imagery of plated bugs consumed by 2 billion people across 80% of the world's countries. Oh, that is disgusting! These people don't know what good food is. If only they had a Happy Meal, they would know they're missing out. And yet, I wouldn't think twice about a Red Lobster commercial of a giant crustacean on a platter, its tentacles and 8 legs spread-eagled in a presentation of American fine dining. National Geographic loved to publish photographs of exotic cuisine from around the world. I couldn't fathom ever eating such things until my 20s, when I started globetrotting. There's something transformative about travel. You start to see things differently. You start to do things differently. When I was on a remote island in the Philippines where locals live tranquilly, I was the most relaxed I'd ever been in my life. In the Dominican Republic, I quickly became accustomed to riding into town on an 8-seat van with 15 people and 2 chickens. And in Cambodia, well, cricket on a stick became normal. Even though I didn't want to eat it, it opened my eyes to the possibility that this could be a food source for me. Suddenly, the National Geographic images weren't so far-fetched. Cricket on a stick was just 10 cents away. It's this normalization of novel, sustainable foods that we need to get to quickly. But how do we spark change without transporting everyone for an 8-week cultural immersion? I had an idea. What if instead of taking us outside our comfort zones, we make the exotic appear familiar? What if I craft cricket to look appealing like I did with spinach in my kids' cooking classes? Using my culinary ingenuity, I got to work crafting a cricket dish I would want to eat. I started with my favorite comfort food, oatmeal. Added in cinnamon, cloves, apples. Then I took the whole roasted cricket, milled it into a fine flour, and blended it until I couldn't tell which speck was spice and which was cricket. Giving it the good old sniff test, I took a bite. Yeah, this is good. I was waiting for that unexpected crunch or off-putting flavor, but all I could taste was delicious apple cinnamon oatmeal. When we package foods in a way that look appealing, we overcome our food stigmas. And we already do this as a nation. We view pig intestines as gross, but nearly all of us in this room have happily eaten a hot dog within our lifetime. And in our supermarket food, we eat on average 384 bug bits every single day. It's time to build the Wolf's Bakery of our generation, to steel ourselves with a resilient food supply. My company gets us over the mental challenges of enjoying cricket protein. This past September, I was walking my daughter to school, and she says to me, "Crickets are so cute." And that's when I realized our messaging, it's working. Cricket is no longer ugly. Cricket is no longer dirty. Cricket is no longer gross. Now it's up to all of us to see cricket and other sustainable foods in a new light, to try it, perhaps in a decadent dark chocolate bar, and to find, oh, it really doesn't bug us after all.